This is the show where it gets all like fucking crazy because now we're like getting trashed and it gets like off the rails. I do my best to focus on that Final Fantasy show, and now, okay. Anyway, welcome to Couch. Thank you. Oh wait, I think you need it. Mine's right here. Welcome to Couch Co-op, the show where we just fuck around. All right. Today's what are we fucking talking about? Couch Co-op, the show where we talk about motherfucking video games. And on today's show, we're going to talk about comic book video games. There's been a very long and illustrious collection of video games through the generations. Some have been really bad, some have been bad, some have been even worse than really bad. And there have been some that have been pretty good this current generation, so we're going to talk about them. But first, we're going to meet the suckers on the couch. Alright, so today on the couch, or this evening, or the same day as the last episode, we have Jared.
Hi.
We have Matt.
Howdy.
He's a newbie.
I am.
And we have Aaron back.
Hey.
Oh boy.
That was really gay. Hey. Quiet you.
So today we're going to talk about comic book video games, but first, what have you guys been up to? Let's start down at this end with Aaron. What have you guys been up to this week?
Well, this week I finally decided to pick up Metal Gear Rising Revengeance for the PS3.
Oh my god,
Nice.
serious?
Yes.
Did you buy it?
No, I bought it from a friend.
How is it?
It's a fun game, actually. It's very easy to pick up, and it's very intense game. It's obviously by Kojima, so it's going to be very intense, but it's a very fun game to play, very easy to pick up. So
Hack and slashy.
Oh yeah, definite hack and slash.
Chopping watermelons.
And then some, yeah.
And Matt?
I've been playing DCU Online and Ultimate Alliance 2.
Yeah!
I'm actually liking DCU Online.
Really?
It is fun.
It's a fun game.
I'm pissed off right now. I'm stuck in the middle of the fucking watchtower.
Oh, you lost?
No, I'm not lost. There's one mission I have to do to finish the mission in the watchtower to get more in Gotham. And I can't, it won't let me finish it. I'm stuck.
And Jared, what have you been up
Maybe
to?
I'll jump in it. Well, I finally beat Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Such a glorious game. Are you trophy hunting?
I already got all the trophies in.
Oh, did
So
you?
yes, I hunted for the trophies in that. Yeah. Well, there's only one silver. The rest are bronze.
Isn't the sex scene in that video game?
Oh, that was pretty intense.
The whole ending of that game is so
the sex
brilliant.
scene was ridiculous. Everybody has to play it just for that because
So
it's so interesting.
So I've been playing. What did I been fucking playing this?
What haven't you
I
been
beat
playing?
BioShock Infinite, and it was alright. I think did I talk about that already on the show? I don't think so. And then I've been playing Metro Last Light. Great game!
I started
Really?
that last night.
Fucking creeps me out. It's got fucking spiders, and it gets dark and shit, and it's like, it's got like, what do you call that? It's the Half-Life. Half-Life 2 freaked me out because it had like little spider things that, and it's got spiders and shit, so it fucking freaks me out, but that game's a lot of fun, so I've been playing that shit. So now we're going to talk about comic book video games. Do you remember the first comic book video game you played? What console?
I do.
Like, I mean, let's talk about, like, comic book video games have had, like, a very kind of not good track
Very
record.
brutal.
They're horrible.
Until recently, they've been pretty
Terrible.
bad.
So, like, what was your first comic book video game that you
Mine?
played, like, at home?
Was on the NES. It was that first, I think it was X-Men.
Oh, my God.
You couldn't tell what the characters were. You couldn't tell if there was a goal. The enemies, I don't even know what they were. They were just a giant mess, like the game. It was terrible. I don't ever want to relive that again.
It's like, what is that company? LBJ, is it the one with the rainbow?
I don't know. The
I
Terror
have no
Generator?
Acclaim.
Yeah, no, not Acclaim.
That was Acclaim.
No,
it's
Acclaim
like-
was cool.
They're the same guys that did the Punisher video game, and they did like the Wolverine video game. They had all like for some reason they had all the Marvel like licenses.
Activision?
No, it wasn't Activision.
It can't be.
But It was pretty much every Marvel game that came out on the Nintendo was that awful, awful.
I don't know who it
sucky.
is.
I was too young to give a crap.
Did you ever, what other Nintendo games did you play? Silver Surfer?
Oh God.
No.
Yeah.
The Batman game.
The Batman
That was
games.
the best one.
That was a good
Yeah.
one.
It's
That
not
was
too
a good
bad.
one.
That was a good one. I like that one.
That was and then so like look at like Genesis and Super Nintendo
Comic Zone.
comics. Oh, does that count?
It's a comic book. You're in a comic book, so it's a
It's
comic
not
book
based
game.
off of a comic
game's
book, but it
fucking
is
hard.
a comic.
It's
It is.
fun.
It's fun, but it's hard.
I liked it.
Oh,
I beat it. It was hard as shit, but I beat it.
Yeah.
It took a lot
what,
of
what,
time.
what else we have? We have like Maximum Carnage. We have Batman Returns.
Turtles in Time.
Oh, Ninja Turtles! You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Ninja
and
Turtles.
I played and I beat that game.
All
That
the
was-
Ninja Turtle games for the Nintendo were really good.
They were.
Yeah,
They were fun.
Well,
Turtles in Time was so
there
fun.
was an X-Men game for Super Nintendo, if I remember right. You could use Wolverine. It was like, of course, side-scrolling like every
Was that one
other
actually on Super Nintendo?
game.
That was
The Genesis
Yeah,
one
there
was
was a
pretty
good one.
badass.
I think you could even
the
use
Genesis
Gambit
one
was in it.
where you were different characters. You can choose a different character throughout this.
That game's badass. The
It-
1 and 2. 'Cause
Yeah.
the second one was like the Clone Wars. That game is badass.
Yeah.
That's one of the most badass Sega games of all time, I think.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
on Genesis was fucking awesome.
I never played.
I never
that.
played
You never played that one? Oh my god, that
I don't
game was
remember
so
ever
fun.
playing that one.
Oh, it was so fun. You had to fight the lizard, Rhino. Oh my god, they were so hard, but so fun to play.
I fight the lizard all the time.
What you do with letters, they're your business. They're not our business.
Had a beer shower.
All right, so like, so we move on from there. So, is there any other great? I don't know. I just remember the X-Men being awesome for Genesis.
There was Spawn
They
for
were.
Super Nintendo.
Oh, Spawn. Oh yes, I played.
I never played
the
Spawn.
Spawn game was alright.
Yeah,
That was.
I thought it was fun, but I was like 6.
Kinda like
so
the
I didn't
movie
give
and
a
the
shit.
comic.
You gotta
It was
really-
alright.
It would have
you
been
gotta
terrible like the
really-
movie, yeah.
You gotta really be like a product of that time where like we watched that shitty. We had like that comic book came out and that shitty movie came out and you have the character and. But I just remember that he kind of like bzzz, it was kind of boring. The X-Men game was, I think, is probably the best in my opinion.
The X-Men game was good.
All right, so PlayStation. We're going through the generations here.
jeez.
Oh wow.
PS1, I don't remember any.
I don't
comic
remember any.
I don't either,
games.
dude.
I didn't play
I know
comic games in
PS2 there was a
PS1.
bunch, but I don't think there were much on PS1.
Oh, I'm sure there was tons. I just didn't play any of them.
I don't.
There's Spider.
I never had a PS1.
Do you guys
so-
even play video games?
Yeah, I
What are video
did.
games?
I just can't remember any of them for the PlayStation.
God, you guys suck balls. Why did I have you guys on? Anyway, no. So like PlayStation 2 has a shitload.
Yes.
Of great, and I think this is where actually the comic.
That's where it started
I think
just
where
exploding.
it actually kind of starts getting better
Yeah.
because you have X-Men Legends, X-Men Legends 2, which are basically
you had the Wolverine game,
you have the
which was
Wolverine
good.
game. You have not the first Hulk movie game, but you had Hulk Ultimate Destruction, which was like an open world.
Where you just run
I
around
played
and
Hulk on
destroy shit.
PlayStation 2. That
Well,
game
the
was-
great thing about that game was like you could like grab and rip a bus apart and like make
Use it
your
as boxing
fist.
gloves.
the
That
fist.
game was fucking brilliant. Why do you think, like, before that, why do you think they made such shitty comic book games?
It was an easy buck because it was a license and it was going to sell.
I have to
Simple
agree
as
with that.
that.
Yeah, I
unfortunately.
actually do agree with that.
Yeah.
Before they
it's
realized-
guaranteed money because it says Spider-Man on it.
Or it says Marvel or DC.
Or, yeah, anything.
Well, I think at that time you
licensed.
obviously have the fact that Marvel wasn't backed by Disney, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you also have Marvel being in like in probably in an extreme case of like bankruptcy, pretty close, because like
For the most of the 90s.
they were pretty fucking broke. So like they would. I think that's why you have such shitty games because you have them licensing them out to like just whoever would make a game. And
That's why they did the movies.
now, how many of you
everywhere, too.
actually read comic books back then?
Me.
Just you.
Just
I
me.
did some, like the little ones, like Teen Titans, the adult Teen Titans, some Spider-Man ones, Batman. They're
Adult Teen Titans?
well, there was the kiddie one that you see on Cartoon Network. That's on.
I
That's
don't
like
get
for,
it.
okay.
Clearly, Aaron shouldn't be on this panel, but
We'll be quiet.
the adult version, and then there's the Cartoon Network.
oh,
Yes,
the adult
exactly.
version.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
adult version. This is
Yes,
like
I
the-
see. Like
yeah.
this version.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, I got it.
For us, one's for adults.
I know what Aaron's saying. Ian's just being an ass.
I know he is. I've come to know this.
We
That's
all
why we
have.
love you.
He produced the adult Teen
I have a whole collection of adult Teen Titans.
I'm not surprised.
starring Antoine McGrubby Hands and some other ladies. Anyway. This is getting off the rails.
Wow.
Way
Anyway.
off the rails. All right. So anyway, I was on like a good. Anyway.
Did his voice just get really high pitched?
It did. That was very squeaky.
So what as a avid comic book reader, Matt? What comic book game did you really want back then? Like when you were a kid, when you were reading comic books, what game did you want?
I was really big into X-Men back then. And I wanted a really good X-Men game. And X-Men Legends did deliver that.
It's a pretty awesome game.
Legends 2 delivered that. And then when the Wolverine movies and all the X-Men movies came out, they segued into the kind of adapting those to the video games, giving those leather costumes and all that. And it worked. You snuck around as Wolverine in your black leather and just beat the living hell out of people.
So when you played that first, let's say a Nintendo game, Nintendo X-Men game for the first time, then were you at that period of time back in?
No.
Were you an X-Men fan then?
I wasn't.
You even know?
When did that game come out?
Shit, I don't know.
I don't remember
86,
either.
87.
Yeah, I wasn't
Late
reading comics
80s.
then. I started comics in like '92.
Okay.
But I was like, look, it's the X-Men. They're mutants. You know what they are, sort of. You know. So I kind of knew what the X-Men were, but playing the game, I was like, this is kind of cool. These are like outcast people, and they're just beating the living hell out of people with superpowers. That's kind of neat. I was more into baseball and everything, and then
we also get in that time period we get our first like real Spider-Man game,
yeah.
and it's like off the movie. I never played that game. Did you guys play it?
The one for the PlayStation?
Yeah, PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I played it briefly with a friend of mine. He played it, and whenever he died, he handed it over to me, which is rare. But the game was really good, actually. I don't really like movies, the games based off movies, but it was a fairly fun game to play.
Do you think a game's set up or fail if it's like based off a comic and then based off the movie?
If a game is based off a movie, it's pretty much going to
Most
fail.
of
If you
those
look
are
at
gonna
it,
fail.
if you look at it, look at all the look at the DC games that they've based on their movies. Every one of them has flopped. You've got Green Lantern. That was pretty horrible.
Pretty bad.
You had the Superman games. Those were horrible.
There's still never been a good Superman game.
You can't make it good, that's the thing.
the only good Superman game is DCU Online, and
You
I
can
don't,
barely
I
is
don't-
it.
Superman.
yeah, I don't think there's ever really been a good Superman game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of you guys played this, but one of the greatest games for PS2 that I really liked was the first, not the second one wasn't too good, but the first Batman animated video game.
That was a
they
good
made.
one. That was fun.
I thought that was really awesome. It obviously had the really cool cartoon style in the game, and
And it had all the celebrity voices
Yeah.
from the cartoon.
it was a really good game.
Yeah.
It's very solid. They did a second one, and it wasn't as good. I only rented that, and I didn't really care for it as much. But
Never played the second one.
But the first one I thought was pretty awesome. But I still feel like at that point in time, comic book video games, like movies, weren't really getting
No,
really
it took up until the
like this current, like not this
PS3 basically
Xbox
launched
360,
all the awesome.
Yeah.
this generation.
Yeah.
Not the
Not
new
the current generation, but the most previous.
2006 and on.
Yeah.
Yeah. A very
So-
small period.
What game do you think from that generation pretty much defined?
Marvel Universe.
You think?
Yeah.
I think Arkham
Ultimate Alliance.
City.
You think Arkham City?
But Arkham City it's not the original. It's not what relaunched the comic book movie games.
That's true.
It was.
But it's a
it was-
pretty awesome.
It
Solidly
is. It
awesomely
is.
made
Yeah.
game.
Awesome
Yeah, it
game.
is. It's a great game. I want to play Origins really bad.
Me too.
But I don't want to pay $60 for it right now.
Yeah, the Arkham games have done really well. I was a huge fan of Arkham Asylum and City, but I think it was even on PS2. But then they also kind of had a PS3 version. Was the Ultimate Alliance?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Ultimate Alliance,
Those,
the first
those
Ultimate
games
Alliance
were
first
some of
one
the
was on
most
PS2.
fun.
Well,
Fun
it was
series of
like
game.
it was like it launched. That first game launched like where we are right now. It was a multi-platform game. So
Yeah.
it was on PS2, Wii.
Yeah. So it was in generational
360.
transition. So
On
yeah,
the Wii, I believe you
those
could
were the
fling
best.
the thing, and it would throw the.
Controller at the TV.
You
And make
throw
it
it. Yeah, it would throw the shield though.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You could throw the Wii at people. I throw my Wii at people all the time.
Well,
I
not in jail yet.
Jokes. That didn't take long.
how many Wii jokes can me and do in one episode?
More than we want to know, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's limitless.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah.
what games would you really like to see from comic books? Like what comic books? Like Jerry
geez.
kind of reads
Well-
comics. Aaron,
well,
do you currently read
recently-
comics?
No, but
No.
no.
So Matt and Jared, if there was a comic book, what series would you like to see?
Do you really have to ask? I'm
Well,
going for.
is it
like to see
poster
I
a-
book?
want to see a Green Lantern video game. I want to see a
good
good
one.
one.
Not a Green
Not
Lantern
based
movie
on
game?
the movie. One where you've got missions in all the sectors where you can choose to be any of the lanterns that you want to be, or you can create your own. Kind of like DCU Online, but it's in space and you're a lantern. I want to see something like that. I think it would be fun. I think it would be a lot of fun.
I feel like a lot of the games, the comic book games they're fun and the good ones are good. I feel like what's awesome about Batman is like Batman created a brawling fighting mechanic that is like kind of second to none. Like,
Yeah.
And it's brilliant and it's awesome. Those guys at Rocksteady made a great game and that fighting mechanic's pretty awesome. I feel like most comic book games are really just derivative of other games.
Yeah.
They kind of feel like they are generally derivative of other games for the most part. I feel like I've played this. Like even the Transformers games. I mean, we're talking about, but
Gears of War.
It's
with
pretty much. I mean, it's
Transformers
Gears
game.
of War, but then you transform into a car. I mean, obviously, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like Batman. I think what sets Batman apart from that is that, man, that's a really slick
No.
fighting.
If
It's
the
fluid in
people
its
that
motions.
did
It's
That's the main
just-
the
thing
people
about
that did Batman gave the creative thought to like doing a Green Lantern game, probably could do it fucking awesome.
Well, I'm with Matt when it comes
Who's
to.
gonna buy a Green Lantern game except you?
There's a ton of Green Lantern fanboys out there.
Well, it doesn't even have.
It doesn't. You don't have to be just a Green Lantern fanboy either, though.
What I would like the most out of that world is the galactic expansions of everything. You know, the lanterns just cover so many galaxies
If it
and
was Mass Effect with the
anything
Lantern.
like that. Just something.
And you can
Not just
incorporate
one,
all
though.
the other
like
Lantern
that
cores in
would
it.
just be
And
so cool.
I think it would be.
Because
Yeah.
it would be so expansive. It wouldn't always have to be Green Lantern. I mean, this whole world, this Marvel universe, or DC universe, could just be. I know, I'm gonna be shot, but yeah, DC universe is so expansive. If they connected it all, it would be pretty awesome. I mean,
The
like all of the
DCU
Green Lantern stuff goes to how many different dimensions? Well, not dimensions, but all the different galaxies and.
sectors.
I'm just failing this, giving the wrong words. But I'm quickly corrected by my thoughts and this guy.
There's one right
But
there.
I'm just going to stop there.
Well, I'm not much of a reader of comic books, but
For
there's
shame.
Oh, be quiet. But the one thing I really wish they would do is make just one good fucking comic book game that's not based on a movie, like Iron Man. I love Iron Man. Honestly, the movies were awesome, but
The
not.
games are pretty fucking terrible.
Yes,
Any movie
I want-
game is pretty
Yes,
terrible.
but I want one good Iron Man game that's not based on the movies.
Demon in a bottle.
Not made by Sega.
Yes.
Oh yeah, what's with Sega and making like Thor, Captain America, all these fucking atrocious.
They're all the same game with different skin.
It's cheap. It's just to make money. It's just
Yeah.
Have you actually bought one of those?
No,
I thought
and I don't
Sega
want
went out of
to, 'cause
business.
it looks stupid.
No,
Sega's still
they're
around.
still making Sonic.
That's their cash cow.
That's right.
It's their cash cow.
No. Sonic Boom is coming out.
Oh no! I believe the latest thing is on the Wii Marketplace. You can get Mario and Sonic in the
Olympics.
The Olympics game, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple
wow.
years ago.
I believe the rating was a 4.1. I think IGN gave it.
Yeah, out of
That's not
10.
Sega
surprising.
has become the U-Bowl of video games.
Yeah. Louis Boll.
That's not 100%
Is it
true.
striked out?
They do. They still
They did
publish.
Bayonetta. Well, published it.
Bayonetta. They publish good games. They just don't develop good games anymore. I feel. And maybe they should just be a publisher and not a developer.
Not comic
'Cause,
book
like,
movie game.
Yeah, and comic book movie. But
Comic book movie games, they just suck. They can't do it.
Pretty much.
They just can't.
so aside from this motherfucking Green Lantern guy, a superhero that you would like to see.
There's
fucking-
others I want to see too, but Green Lantern's the main one.
Well, the Deadpool game.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That was a great
Fucking
game.
love that game.
That game was awesome.
The sidebars, him talking to you as a player, it was just awesome.
Very faithful game, very funny.
It was great. The opening gives you 2 trophies right away.
Developed by High Moon Studios, the same guys who did the very awesome Transformer games.
And he's scratching his nuts with his gun in the very beginning. That's classic
Is
Deadpool.
that your favorite part?
No,
My favorite part's the Sentinel boot.
I like the urinal one.
But no, that's a great game.
It is great. It's funny.
Well, personally, I'd like to see a new generation of X-Men, like a nice, dark, deep story from the actual like
The X-Men universe.
X-Men
did in the
universe
90s with the cartoon.
versus just, hey, I'm Wolverine. I'm just gonna slash things, and it's boring.
So what do you think about, like, I don't know how much you guys have researched about this, but like MOBAs have been the new hotness in video games. Dota and
Never
League of
played one.
Legends. Well, Marvel and DC both have. That's what they kind of push their licenses towards. So you can play it as any character and do these. You guys don't know about these games? God, why am you guys even on
I
my
have
fucking
no
show?
idea.
What the hell are you talking about?
We'll cut that. All right, so have we talked about comic books? You guys have anything particular you guys want to bring up?
We can bring up the Lego games.
Oh, the Lego. You don't want to bring up the Lego games? Jason
Why?
doesn't like the Lego
There's
games.
a lot of superhero ones.
Yeah. Lego has every superhero game.
Marvel
Jason-
superheroes.
Jason hates
And
the
they're
Lego
the
games.
fucking Sega of video games. It's the same game with a different fucking skin.
I agree with that. I actually played the Star Wars Lego game. I'm just like, no.
But they're doing good on them.
I've heard that the new Marvel superheroes one, like all the characters feel completely different when you're playing as them. So that might be fun.
The only thing I would mention, but none of you guys have probably played, is like on the Wii U, they have Scribblenauts, and there's a DLC for the Scribblenauts DCU Unmasked, which I'm curious about checking out, but I imagine none of you guys have played that, so.
I
No,
played the
I don't have a
original
Wii U.
Scribblenauts.
I don't
And
either.
it was pretty cool. So I could imagine using any DC character. I remember reading some previews and reviews of that where they tried even some of the most bass-ackwards DC heroes nobody else had ever heard of, and they were in the game. You just throw their name. Thank you for cleaning
must
my
spit up
pants
his
with your
beer.
beer.
He almost spit up his beer. Are you happy now, Jared? Made him spit up his beer.
You guys are useless and glorious at the same time.
You're welcome.
And, comic book video games, I think, are always going to be kind of the stepchild of video games. I don't think they're ever going to. I mean, Batman's close, but I don't think.
Transformers are up there.
Transformers, yes, but Transformers were a toy first. They don't quite get the same.
They were a toy and a comic at the same time.
And a great movie by Michael Bay. The
Oh, yeah.
Lord of all.
1984. That movie was the best one, though.
Anyway, no, what I'm saying is, like, I don't think comic book video games are ever going to be.
They're not going to be the end all to be it all. No,
You know.
I think they're just fun.
Here, I'll liken
As
it.
a-
I'll liken it to this. You have a great video game like let's say Borderlands, and they make a comic, and it's shitty-ish, and maybe it's good by some people. It's like you have a video game, you have a comic book, and you make it a video game. It's never going to be as good as you know what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Well, the Borderlands comics were pretty terrible, but
How were the
I
Mass
bought
Effect
the
them.
Mass
comics?
Effect ones.
yeah, I bought the Mass Effect. I like the Mass Effect ones because
See?
Mass
But see, maybe other people did.
Yeah, well, I'm
But
sure
this
there's a
is-
ton of people that didn't like
This
it.
is the comparison I'm making. It's like,
Yeah, I get it.
It's like when
You know, go ahead.
it's like when they try and make a movie into a book versus a book being made into a movie. You can't do it because like the movie could be good, but if you make the book adaptation of the movie, it's gonna be shit. But if you make a book, like say World War Z or something like that, into a movie, the movie may be shit, but the movie may be good, but the book's always gonna be better. It's hard to do it. It's gonna be hard to translate it, so to speak. If that makes any sense.
doesn't, Aaron.
I can tell by your face.
I'm very confused.
Well, okay. It's like making.
And on that note,
I just barely made it through this episode. And I bet you barely made it through it too. That's comic book movies. Anyway, you gotta fucking keep watching our show even with this pile under my belt. You gotta keep watching my show. That's our show.
Yes.
It's youtube.com/MilkManPictures. Boom, it's right here. Just fucking check it out. Watch the show. Subscribe to it at the sign that says subscribe, idiots. I'm not calling you idiots. And then also, we have a podcast. Check us out on iTunes. It's the Couch Co-op Podcast. Supplemental. Jared and I will probably have to do a supplemental podcast to rescue this train wreck of an episode.
We will do that soon.
And, man, I love you guys. Whoever watched, I don't even know who watches this show anymore, but thank you for watching. I love you.
Please
and,
comment.
That's it from the couch. Good night.